Good morning, Dante. Father
Hey,
Rhythm.
hello, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you feeling this morning?
I'm good over here. I'm listening to some Little Benny. Here comes the boogie. Got a live vinyl going over here, some old school go-go, a DC classic.
Nice. Where did you
Yes.
pick up this vinyl?
I picked it up at Sohm Records. Sohm Records is on 14th and U Street.
Okay.
A great spot. I was doing a residency at Marvin where I would spin vinyls and then perform with them and do sets in between. And
What?
so I had a day where I just bought nothing but go-go records. So I got some Reds and the Boys, I got a couple of EU records, and this Little Benny record here.
Very nice. How lucky for your little one at home that he gets to hear all of these tunes on vinyl.
Yes, nice warmth.
That is very special. Well, I want to thank you, Father Rhythm, Dante Pope, for joining me today. And I know we're live now and we will be having people join us. And I just want to take a moment to welcome everyone who's joining us now and everyone who will be watching us on the replay later on, and give a little bit of a background of why we're here today and why we were celebrating the release of our new single, Soul Beat Connection. So just to introduce myself first, my name is Dr. Jessica Phillips-Silver. They call me Dr. Jessica. And I am a music neuroscientist, a speaker on music and brain development, and a mother. And my friend and colleague here is Mr. Dante Pope, who is a DC-based soul vocalist and drummer and music producer and performer extraordinaire. And we together have created this single that we're going to share with everyone today. This has been a long time coming, and I don't need to tell anyone here that this past year has been a long year for everyone, which just adds to the excitement and the sort of importance to us of getting to this moment. So I'm just going to take a minute to introduce a little bit about why I created this work, how Dante became a co-visionary and co-creator in this work, and then just chat. We'll take a few minutes to just chat a little bit about what this song means to us and why we think it's important right now. So I mentioned that I've been studying music and the brain for about 20 years. And over those 20 years, I learned a lot. I worked with a lot of really brilliant scientists, and this topic of how music grows the brain, how it shapes the brain from the earliest days of life during infancy, throughout the lifespan, what can go wrong with the musical brain even, and how important music, in particular rhythm, can be in recovery and healing. That has been a topic that's been close to my heart basically for as long as I can remember. And I was working primarily in the science lab, conducting research, most recently at Georgetown University in the Department of Neuroscience, studying how rhythm is processed in the brains of typical sighted and blind individuals. And about a little over a year ago, I got support from the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities to actually create a show about rhythm in the brain. And that was extremely exciting to me because it was a chance to bring the scientific work that I had been working on, and many, many colleagues, into an artistic setting in a way that we could really create something that was beautiful and something that we could share with families and with our community. And my topic of interest has always been rhythm and the brain, and how important rhythm is for the growth of children's brains and for all of us in terms of our connection, community, and healing. And so here I am in Washington, DC. It's time to create a show. And my specialization is rhythm, especially complex rhythms in the brain. And I'm surrounded by incredible artists, including the cast members who you will see in today's video of Dante Pope, Sylvia Suma, founder and director of Koyaba West African Dance Theater, Rochelle Rice, DC-based vocalist, and even a cameo by hip-hop artist Dior Ashley Brown. And so what music are we going to choose to highlight for this show? We're of course going to choose the very important and powerful rhythms of go-go music that originated in the rhythms that traveled from Africa through Latin America and the Caribbean through the African diaspora. And the meaning of this show to me, the importance of this show called Finding Rhythm, A Journey Through the Musical Brain, is really to teach a few important lessons to children and families and all of the people who raise and teach and care for and love children. One of those messages is that rhythm grows the brain, that rhythm is an ancient and pervasive and powerful tool for optimal brain growth and for finding connection. And that's the source of my research, is understanding exactly how the brain enables us to perceive rhythm and how rhythm then becomes a tool for brain growth and connection with others. Another message from the show that's extremely important is learning what it means to really listen. So there's one character in the show is the curious scientist, and she asks questions of Father Rhythm and Mother Dance to teach her why they dance and where we find our rhythm. And her job is to listen carefully to what they have to teach her. And then later in the show, she shares what she knows about how the brain listens, and the key, the secret to listening as far as the brain is concerned is that it's not just about the ear, but it's about the whole body. And she teaches about that in the show and through the song, Rhythm Grows Your Brain. Another powerful message from this show is where Father Rhythm, played by Dante Pope, becomes very central. And that is the message that when we find rhythm, we find connection. And we will be hearing more from Father Rhythm on that topic. But there is a lot of powerful work that has been done by all of the musicians and the leaders and the teachers that have come before us about where rhythm lives in us, where we look to find it, and ultimately understanding from not just an evolutionary point of view, a historical and sociological point of view, but through a very current lens, the importance of truly finding connection right now, which to me means a combination and a really fine dance between knowing what is my individual rhythm. How do I look inside and know how to feel my own rhythm, but then also how do I listen to yours? How do I understand that yours is a little bit different from mine, and yet that we somehow share this common rhythm? And that to me is really an understanding for children about knowing their own individual power and being able to find true connection and community with others, and balancing those two. We have to know our own place in community, and then we have to make our contribution as an individual member to that community and listen to others. And so all of these messages, rhythm growing the brain, what it means to really listen, when we find rhythm, we find connection. And then ultimately the show ends with an empowering note of how when we find our own rhythm, we find the source of our own individual power and the source of our connection with community. And that the show ends with a song called Powerful Child. And my hope is that it sends an uplifting message to children and families to really communicate to them and help them to understand that finding their rhythm and growing their own brain is the source of their power, because it's our brain that enables us to change. And no one is in charge of your brain except for you. No one. And you have the power and the strength to grow your brain through rhythm, through family and community, through listening and empathy, through all of the actions that you take and practice day in and day out in order to live the life that you have to live and be part of something that's bigger than yourself. And today, we are really excited to have everybody joining us to celebrate the launch of our single, which is the go-go inspired song for the musical Finding Rhythm called Soul Beat Connection. And for that, I really want to, first of all, thank you, Dante, for I don't even have words for it, the incredible contribution that you've made to this single, to this show, not only musically, but really as a visionary. And I want to ask you to sort of kick off this conversation a little bit about the meaning to you of the single Soul Beat Connection.
Yeah, the single, in my opinion, is a representation of, number one, how I was raised. From Chicago, Illinois, and the son and product of a lineage of pastors, community leaders, and folks who wanted to have an impact to make other people's lives better. I found myself in many ways trying to be a reiteration of that. And as an adult, found that my place with applying those lessons is through music and the arts. And I like the arts and music in that I have the freedom to express myself. But then the one thing that connects us, and the only way the connection will work, is if you submit to that moment. And so as an artist, it's my job to be sensitive with how I approach an audience, but be humble enough to know that when they're open, it's time to actually say something. You know, it's fun to have good party music and all that, but when you have an audience that's open and listening to you, we got to actually say something. And so the beauty of this song is it's a whole class in 3 minutes.
It is. Tell us more about that, the lessons in that class. Because you're right, we packed a lot in.
Yeah, it's like you got the heartbeat from Mother Dance. She moved with you and she took you by the hand. But I mean, that's like 0 to 9 months. That's a conversation within itself of just your mother's movement, her heartbeat, that effect that it has on you as an infant, just to bring you into the world. And then the introduction of where we're talking about these specific rhythms coming from, being the African diaspora, and that it traveled through the Caribbean and Latin America. This song to me is like an amalgamation of all the different styles of music that I've been highly impacted by. You know, classical music being a lot of where the technique comes from. But these African rhythms are things I grew up hearing and playing naturally. So to have the opportunity to partner with you to kind of encourage kids to have the almost the same life that I had and just participating in the arts is so important. It's so important. But I've really enjoyed the ability to get outside of myself as a creative to learn more about this topic that you've been researching for so long, to really integrate that knowledge so that I can now apply that as a music educator in the classroom. Yeah. And it's just been very helpful to represent something that I've been doing for over a decade through your eyes. And now I'm able to represent it to my students. So thank you so much for the opportunity to partner with you. I remember it's crazy. We met almost 10 years ago. And yeah, we did this one time. I remember it was like you did a lecture and I played the djembe. It was like for 2 minutes. And I wanted to do so much more. So it's cool that we have the opportunity to do this.
10 years. It only took us 10 years, but we got there.
Right. Another thing I like about this song too is that it's been a means to represent myself and a group of people that are not Washingtonians to the go-go community. While working on this project, you know, we had a grant, so you know, you and I were the producers and musicians, you know, for those listening, just so you know, the way this was arranged, the whole musical. Number one, Jessica wrote all the words and the literal melodies to the songs. The way we made this happen. You mind if I tell them your brilliance,
Please,
Jessica?
no, please do. This is
Awesome.
great for them to get behind the scenes.
Yeah. So we literally sat on her porch and she sang to me what each song was. And from those melodies and the tone and us having the type of conversation we're having now on what the intention is behind the songs, I just crafted the arrangements around what she made so easy for me to do. But the song in the project, I use both MIDI programming, meaning synthesized sounds, as well as live instrumentation. So on this single Soul Beat Connection, I'm on the drum set, bass, keys, and I also play the horn lines and as live percussion. I played all that.
Lead talker.
And vocals. And then the backgrounds are Jessica and Rochelle. And we have some amazing young artists who were featured on the project as well. Jessica's daughter and Rochelle's daughter, and Mama Sylvia. And so we also featured Mr. Pete Muldoon on this on guitar. And thank you so much to Jeff Gruber over at Blue House Productions, who worked with us from the beginning. He's been so helpful, and we have a great product. But this song was a lot of fun in that I got a chance to stretch out and really look at arranging differently, because a lot of times people just call me for 1 to 2 parts. And so to be able to build this out has been amazing. And I'm looking forward to being able to hear some of our staple bands in DC playing this song. That would be awesome if this became like a go-go standard.
It would be.
Yes.
And Dante, will you say something more about that? Because it is important for people to understand, they now know how you and I met. They know that we have a history that goes back, that we have a shared, not just, you and I have a shared knowledge set. Even though I came from science and you came from your musical background, we came together because we realized that a lot of what we were studying and teaching and bringing up our children with was really very much the same. We have different skill sets, we have different backgrounds, but we have a shared belief in what children need and the power of rhythm and music. And that's a really beautiful thing that brought us together with Mama Sylvia as well, and with every artist that contributed to this production, because nobody that didn't believe in what we were talking about. But It's also important that we know that we are none of us are native to DC. I certainly never could have created this show without all of you and your extensive background playing in go-go bands since your long time, decades in DC, and Mama Sylvia's as well. In addition to both of you being master teaching artists in DC who have been bringing the sounds of the African diaspora to children through classrooms, through schools, through your teaching, through organizations like Bloom Bars and all of the places that we've sort of grown together. Can you say something more to people who are native of DC about what we feel we share, what we feel is our place here to share? Because we have a great respect for the music of DC. We have a great respect for protecting the integrity of the music and honoring and learning about, with humility, right, the music and the place. And I just would love to hear anything else that you would like to add about that, just for those people who do come from here, so that they understand what we're trying to share with this song.
Well, I think they're going to hear that with the song. That's what music is about. But I think, first of all, it needs to be said more often than not that go-go is another iteration of the Black experience. So I think that is going to help a lot of people when it comes to that delineation, because the African-American community within DC has had some amazing wins. This is a very historic place, but then there have been some amazing losses. And so I understand the necessity to want to at least protect, like you've taken property, land, space. We got to be able to keep our music.
Yeah.
And so with that in mind, I think understanding that DC is a part of the fabric of a country that's constantly gone through that, and African Americans from all around this country who've gone through displacement, people using your culture for their own benefit, and then representing it to you. And so I say, number one, I see that and I understand that as a Chicagoan, but I also know that for us to continue to grow a message, we need more people saying the same thing. So whether I'm from here or not, I still have the same soul, beat, and connection that you have. But I think we need to start putting go-go on the same level as we put hip hop, as we put blues, as we put jazz, and any other form of music that you would credit from the African American culture through the slave trade outside of just the African diaspora. Go-go should be a part of that, you know. But we all have the same soul, beat, and connection. And I think they said it's time for us to show this video. So
that's great. Well, this is for the children now. This is our gift to all of you. All of you have the same soul, beat, and connection. All of you have the potential to grow your brains through rhythm, to feel the power and the honor and respect of where these rhythms came from. And we invite you to dance, to sing, to join us in celebration of this very new song. So please enjoy.
Come on, all my friends, it's time to move. Get up, come on in the groove. You hear the beat? I know you got the soul. Dance with me, now it's time to show. Hey. And this is how the story goes. You got the heartbeat of Mother Dance. She moved with you when she took you by the hand. And little did you know that she was making future plans for you to find connection. Connection. In Africa, the beat began, and then it traveled through the world and the Caribbean. Latin America, the conga played the bembe when they sang the song of connection. Connection, come on, say so. Beat, connection. Oh, 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 oh. Come on, say so. Beat, connection. In DC, it gave the people what they need. A chocolate city giving power to the voice they plead. And let's find a connection. A connection. The Father Rhythm's bringing soul to you. As you'll get older, you remember how that go-go grew into a movement so that you can take your moment to be loved and find connection. Connection. Come on, say so. Beat. Connection.
Thank you to everybody who joined us. Have a beautiful rest of your weekend, and we will see you very soon with more Soul Beat Connection.
Connection.